weird one because so last year, I don't want to toot my own horn, and my prediction video will be dropped on Instagram later today, but I nailed the finals. I nailed Dallas. So I'm gonna give myself a little pound on the back. I'm all over the Clippers this year, like all over the Clippers. But it's like so haven't Stephen A. Smith, and so haven't all the other analysts in the social sphere for the past 4 years, because there's this overarching like fear that you're not going to get Kawhi Leonard being healthy for a full playoff. But for this matchup, right, you got total different constructions of the teams here in my eyes. You got the Clippers, who have, a lot of structure within their coaching staff. Harden's played 79 games. You got Kawhi fully healthy. And then you have this Nuggets team that managed to get the 4 seed. Obviously, Mike Malone fired. They got the best player in the series, best player in the world. But it's like, well, hold on. Like, where is this just like, for me, I look at this series and it's like, this is a win for 2 factors. Nuggets can win this, right? Because I think the favorite should be LA. LA's played a hell of a good, I mean, shout out to James Harden. He was playing some great basketball this year. But I look at Denver and it's like, okay, biggest factor of the series for me, what Jamal Murray are you getting? That's like if you're getting, and coaching now has made this a new factor that I can't weigh it. I haven't seen it. So I really have nothing to judge with the coaching. If you get Jamal Murray, like we saw 2 years ago when they won the finals, this Nuggets team still can overcome the coaching adversity and make a run at this thing. But on the flip side, if you get a healthy Kawhi Leonard, with the way James Harden's playing, with the emergence of the Zubac season he's had, and Norman Powell, like LA's got a squad. They got a deep squad, and they're not messing around this year, Seamus. I mean, they could make some noise.
Zubac, I'll say this. He's getting some all-NBA consideration from people. I can't believe it. It's one of those players you're like, wait, what? I mean, this Clippers team, it's been that way this season for them, and this is kind of the ideal season for this Clippers squad, considering all the Kawhi injuries, considering they're moving into a new arena, or they just moved into a new arena, the Intuit Dome. They had a couple of players on the roster that really overperformed. Talk about Harden playing 79 games this year. That was unexpected. Norman Powell nearly made the All-Star team. Zubac, he's getting all-NBA consideration. So you definitely have some players on this Clippers roster that have gone above and beyond. And we think when Kawhi Leonard was out of the lineup, I mean, Norman Powell was huge for the Clippers during that stretch. He basically replaced everything Kawhi did offensively. Now we know Norman Powell, he's not going to be the defensive player Kawhi is. But offensively, he was able to match a lot of those points. But right now, the biggest factor in this series between both teams is the health. And you already said it. Is Kawhi Leonard going to play the entire series? I'm actually going to lean towards a certain opinion here and say, yes, I think he is going to play the whole series, because up to this point in his career, it's like injury after injury after injury in the biggest moments, too. It's like 2021. Western Conference semifinals, tears ACL. Last year, like, you missed the whole round 1 in 2024. Not healthy for the other 2 round 1s you saw with the Clippers in 22, 23, 24. I don't know the history here. Like the Clippers, did they miss the playoffs that one? I don't even remember. But that's the whole point with Kawhi, is like not healthy at the right moment. Clippers coming into the playoffs, they're never the most optimal version of themselves. And I just think this playoff run, considering Kawhi, his season he's had, they put him on ice for a lot of the season. They started out the season. That's so funny. Philadelphia, they start out the year with their guys on ice. So Embiid and George, nobody said anything. Clippers, they were like, yeah, Kawhi Leonard out indefinitely. We have no idea when we're going to see him. Everybody's like, okay, cool, we'll see him eventually. Yeah, this is just how the Kawhi thing goes. Eventually, he comes back. He's playing every other game. We don't really know when he's going to be in the lineup. However, lately he's played consistently, and from that standpoint, I believe, looking at just the history now, he's not coming into this playoff run with a full season of games. Just straight up not coming in with a full season of games. And in fact, let me just get his actual number of games here. He played 37 games this season. So that's an extremely low number. Now, one could look at that and go, again, injury factor with Kawhi Leonard, like, oh, how's he going to look? But he's coming in with a really low amount of games on the year. I'm like, is there another like 20 games left in Kawhi Leonard? Like, say that knee injury comes 20 games down the line from now. or that next injury comes 20. It's like, can the Clippers sustain a playoff run for those 20 games or however many games until Kawhi, his next injury is due? That's where I see this first round series as a potentially healthy moment for Kawhi Leonard. I think they've been putting him on ice. I think they've managed him well this season after not managing him well the last couple seasons after that lawsuit came out against the Clippers and how they were mismanaging Kawhi's knee rehab and yada yada. But the Nuggets, it's health too. And you mentioned Jamal Murray. If Jamal Murray isn't healthy in this series, forget it. If you're the Denver Nuggets, because you're not going to have
It's a throwaway.
enough offensive create. I mean, just think about the offensive creators on the floor for the Nuggets and the Clippers. If you don't have Jamal Murray, your only offensive creator for the Nuggets becomes Nikola Jokic. It's point blank center. Nobody else on the roster is really creating offense. You don't have. It's like, oh, you have on the roster. It's like you have Michael Porter. He's not creating offense. Aaron Gordon Jr. Michael Porter Jr. Aaron Gordon. Jeez, just put the junior on the other name. Aaron Gordon. He's not creating offense for you. Christian Brown is not creating offense. Like Russell Westbrook, you really don't want him creating offense consistently in the playoffs for any team. And then off the bench, Strother, Peyton Watson, all those guys. None of those guys are creating offense. And ultimately for Denver, that's where they're just if Jamal Murray isn't healthy, they're gonna have to lean heavily on Jokic. Meanwhile, the Clippers, they have Kawhi. Kawhi looks like Kawhi right now. It's the most baffling thing. It's like it's 2025 and you wouldn't think Kawhi is anywhere near where he was in 2019, yet he is right now. He 100% is. Maybe a little slower, maybe a little bit more stiff, but all the same ability is there. All the physicality is there. The IQ is there for Kawhi Leonard. You have Kawhi Leonard out there who can make a bucket, play make for other guys. Norman Powell, he can get his own bucket. James Harden, he's the one of the best playmakers in the entire NBA, and we all know he can also get his own bucket. I mean, he's one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history. So, just from that perspective, I mean, even without Jamal Murray, I kind of look at the series and go, or even with Jamal Murray, I should say, I do kind of look at the series and go, well, the Clippers, like if you look at like the two, I really want to hone in on the trajectories come playoff time because it matters. Like you have the whole season and the seeding that plays out, but part of the season was in November and December and January, and teams had good 3 months there. But then the back half wasn't as good as the first 3 months. So, a classic example, the Utah Jazz with Donovan Mitchell, they went 11-30 one year to start out. I believe that was his rookie year, if I'm not mistaken. 11-30 to start out the year, finished 30-11, and they finished 41-41, made the NBA playoffs. Right now, the Nuggets, they've been trending the wrong way. Now they won their last 3 games of the season. They went 3-0 with their new interim head coach, David Adelman. But before that, with Michael Malone, like they were really trending the wrong way. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Clippers, they were trending the right way. They've been the hot team in the NBA. They have everybody healthy all at once. And from that standpoint, I think just in a playoff series between these two teams, you have a lot more momentum going for the Clippers. And I just think you have a lot more weapons on the Clippers side right now. You have more scoring weapons, you have more weapons of versatility. You can play in multiple styles if you're the Clippers. Meanwhile, the Nuggets, it's like that versatility is really stripped from that roster from 2 seasons ago when they won the NBA title with Bruce Brown, KCP, Jeff Green was on that roster as well. I always forget to mention a guy like Jeff Green, even Ish Smith. It's like the veterans on that roster. I always forget about those guys, but I was watching Mike Malone's speech at the parade the other day because he was fired up. Maybe a couple shots of fireball before that speech. I'm just gonna say that. And he gave that speech, and the 3 guys he mentioned is DeAndre Jordan, who's still on the roster today, Ish Smith, and Jeff Green. Those veterans played huge roles on that Denver squad. Maybe didn't play the most minutes in the world, but played huge roles in just being those veteran leaders. Denver's missing those leaders right now in terms of all those veterans coming off the bench, but even the ability and Bruce Brown and KCP, we talk about those guys more so with the ability of their games and versatility as well. It's like that is not present on this Nuggets team. You're leaning on a lot of young players. It's Strother, it's Peyton Watson, it's Christian Brown, those 3 primarily. And it's like I don't know if all 3 of those are ready. All 3 of those guys are really ready to take the roles in which they've taken with the team this year. Specifically, Christian Brown. It's like they want him to be their KCP. They want him to be partially their Bruce Brown. And he's just not to that level. Westbrook off the bench. Too many boneheaded mistakes. He's been a good sixth man with them this year. I won't lie about that. 6 assists per game. He's actually won them a couple games. Played extremely well. There were stretches of the season where he went over 20 points per game in multiple games in a week. But the Nuggets as a whole, too many young guys playing roles in which they're not accustomed to playing. They're shooting. They don't really have any shooters. Like to both of these teams, they're 29th and 30th. If you look at Denver and Los Angeles, the Clippers, they're 29th and 30th in terms of total 3-point attempts this entire season. So raw 3-point attempts this entire year. The only difference, though, is the Clippers can actually shoot the ball. Denver cannot shoot the ball. They don't have actual shooters. They shoot at a low volume because of that reason. The Clippers shoot at a low volume because their pace. They play at an extremely low pace. Denver, they kind of want to play a little bit more up tempo on the offensive end of the floor and in transition to get some of their points that way, whereas the Clippers are a little bit more methodical, and that's why they're shooting less threes. It's not necessarily that they can't take them, it's just that their pace of the game is a little slower. But Denver, like you're missing a shooting aspect of that team. They're surprisingly not as great of a rebounding team as you might think with some of their bodies on their roster, specifically Jokic down there, who seemingly grabs 15 rebounds a night. But I just, a lot of people are looking at this series and having themselves a hard time decide. It's like Indiana, Milwaukee. It's like, oh, people are having a tough time decide because Milwaukee has the best player, but Indiana clearly has the better team. It's like the better team also has star players as well. It's like Kawhi Leonard's going to be out here, Norman Powell, James Harden, he's going to be out here in this series. In the other series, Tyrese Halliburton's going to be out there, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam. It's like there are other all stars in these series, and I just think the Bucks and the Nuggets, like we were talking about how they're similar, 100% similar, because they're going to have to see superhero performances out of their players, and that includes Nikola Jokic in this series. I just don't see. I could see 100% the series going 7 games. I could see that
Right.
entirely, but I kind of see the Clippers with the upper hand in this series from just the raw versatility on the Clippers roster. They have too many offensive options. They have too many different styles of play that they could have inevitably go to. And just thinking about the size, I mean, look at the size of the Clippers. I was harping on this last year with the Clippers. Like they had legitimate size last year. On this year's roster, just going down and looking at it, it's like okay, James, in a playoff series, like you have obviously, James Harden is somebody you're going to pick on. Bogdanovich, you could pick on him a little bit, but he's a little bit better of a defender than people want to give him credit for. I know his numbers aren't great, but got to remember he's on the Atlanta Hawks, who as a team just weren't that great from a defensive standpoint. Derek Jones Jr., Amir Coffey, both lengthy defenders, multiple positions, can cover him. Chris Dunn, he's in there as well. Nicholas Batum, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons could be played off the floor in this series, but defensively, you can get something from him here and there if you're the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, obviously, Norman Powell's not the best defender in the world, but Zubac, he's your big man in the middle, and he's going to have to go out there and be physical with Nikola Jokic. And you just really looking at the Clippers lineup, it's like they can go 10 deep, and you do feel really comfortable with some of the defenders coming off the bench. You see, that's the thing. The Clippers, their defense off the bench, their versatility, just in their lineup in general. It's like you feel comfortable with the guys coming off the bench, mixing and matching them with the offensive players the Clippers have and staggering some of these players. Like you can have Harden out there with Kawhi, and like you bring Harden out, it's like, okay, insert Powell. Now you have more Kawhi led offense, and you insert some of these other guys like Batum, like a Simmons, like a Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, all of those guys, Bogdanovich. I think the Clippers, their versatility on both ends of the floor. I'm in agreement with the public. I think the public is pointing out the right things when it comes to this Clippers team. They have the necessary roster it takes to go far in the playoffs. And I think the question is from this series is whoever makes it out of this series, how banged up are they going to be for an inevitable matchup against the Oklahoma City Thunder the next round? The Thunder could just blow through their series as we were talking about, and this series could be a legit 7-game series where it's going back and forth. I think the Clippers have the upper hand, but we all know how good Nikola Jokic is. The experience of Jokic and Murray together, I think, is going to, if Murray plays healthily in this series, I think that would bring it to a 7-game series. Now, if Murray isn't healthy in this series, I see this going 6 for the Clippers. If Murray is healthy, I see this going 7. But regardless, I do see the Clippers with the upper hand here. The interesting part about it going 7, it would be in Denver, that game 7.
Right.
It's not always easy to win a game 7 in Denver. However, I will say, in his career, Nikola Jokic, for all the great things he's done, 2 game 7s I look at Nikola Jokic. It's like, what happened here? Game 7, 2019 Western Conference semifinals. Still a young Nuggets team. That was the leeway. That was the pass that year. Loses game 7 to Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum on the home floor. And then last year, the Nuggets lose game 7 on the home floor to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just saying there is some history there. Not always easy to play in Denver, regardless of that history. The last, the 2 games in 19 and 24. But I do see the Clippers with an upper hand here. I do see it as a long series, and I think the series could have an impact on the entire playoffs because if the Clippers are healthy enough to win this series and do, it's like, or either team is healthy enough to win this series and do, it's like, how banged up are they going to be for the next round? And that could really determine what happens to that Oklahoma City Thunder team. That could be one of the toughest matchups for the Thunder in the playoffs between either one of these teams. And we'll have to see what happens from that standpoint. I'll add this in too. Coaching. Tyronn Lue versus David Adelman. Adelman, 3-0, but I'm just throwing it out here. Regardless of how good of a coach David Adelman is, he's still new at the job. When you're still new at a job, it's like you can, your 3rd day of work, your 4th day of work, you probably feel good, but versus your 4th year of work, your 5th year of work, it's like a lot different of a vibe. You know a lot more things about your job than you did, the first couple of days to a week. That's the thing with David Adelman in the head coaching position. Still probably getting his feet wet under him at this point. Probably great. He's a son of a former Hall of Fame head coach, Rick Adelman. And he's probably, definitely has some basketball knowledge, no doubt, but just the routine of being a head coach, meeting every demand in which a head coach needs to meet, the standards of that's really hard, especially going into the playoffs versus Tyronn Lue, who's perpetually been a coach of the year candidate ever since he joined the Los Angeles Clippers and really ever since he's been with the Cleveland Cavaliers and won a championship there with LeBron. That's going to be a huge factor in this series as well. And there are just a lot of things. I would love to see the Nuggets go far. I'd love to see a Nuggets Thunder series. I think that'd be wildly interesting because the Nuggets were a team I pinned as it's like, oh, they could beat the Thunder. It's like Nuggets, Lakers. I'm really looking at those two. But in the series against the Clippers, the Clippers, they have a lot of things going for them that I just don't think the Nuggets have right now.
And you know what? For as great as Jokic is, he has never in his playoff career, in his NBA career, has never beaten a 50-win team in the NBA playoffs. He has
really
still, yes,
really that is a shock. That is actually a shocking stat to me right now.
Yes,
and that is the first time I've heard that, and that is yikes.
Yeah, it is a real knock on his. Yes, never beaten a 50-win team. And the year they made the finals, it was all. Because the year they won it, they faced the 8-seeded Heat in the NBA Finals, and then the 7-seeded Lakers, who made like this miraculous run. So he hasn't beaten a 50-win team yet.
The Clippers went 8-4-7-8 that year.
Yeah, so it was kind of a breeze. We talk about breeze and cakewalks. No finals is a breeze, but hey, look at that one.
Hey, we'll shout them out.
Shout them out.
I don't know. Nuggets, Clippers. Clippers used to be my West Coast team, but this shout out to the Denver. Nuggets. Great hospitality.
I'm gonna go Clippers in 7. Solely off the fact of Jokic is that guy. Murray will probably show up for a game or two at the bare minimum. You'll get a good, Murray game sprinkled in there at the very least. I think you nailed it. Really an underrated factor here is Tyronn Lue could coach circles around David Edelman, I believe, right? David Edelman.
Edelman. We see in Boston, it's so natural to go, Jules. Jules.
Shout out Edelman. But yeah, Edelman, I think there's a real chance that he walks in there and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Rightfully so. Like, it's not a knock on him, right? It's more so just you're going against Tyronn Lue.
It should be expectations, guys. Really. You hoisted. Who has been hoisted into a head coaching position with 3 games left? Like, there's no rule book. There's no what do you call it for this? Rule book. What is it called? Handbook. What do you call it? I don't know.
I would have said handbook.
Syllabus,
pamphlet, maybe
handbook. I don't know. There's no book. Nobody wrote a book about
it. Yeah, but like, so like unfairly to him, like, do you have a scheme? Do you have like, what are you gonna do? You got to really rely on your back bench and your second guys. But again, it's like you got Jokic. The Clippers are playing some great ball, so I think they dedicate this. They are not. They really control the trajectory of this series. But there is like kind of like the Indiana. This is very similar to the Indiana one, where it's like you have the clear better team. Just don't let the seeding fool you. Right, the Clippers are the better team, but the best player in this series is Jokic, and pretty handedly too. As great as Harden's been and as great as Kawhi looks, it's like Jokic is that guy. So 7 games goes to LA. I do see a world where I think it's either, again, I said this the same thing with the Bucks. It's either like 7 or 4 or 5. Like I don't see us. No, I could see a 6, but like I'm gonna go 7. I'm gonna lean 7.
6 or 7, I'm not going anything under that. Straight up. If a team wins in 5, if either of these teams win in 5, I will be legitimately shocked.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.